Hello, hello, hello. Thank you everyone for joining us for Get Creative with JH Creative. I am one of your hosts, Chrissy Souders, joined here by the founder, CEO, and owner of JH Creative. Hey, Julia.
Hey, Chrissy. Thank you so much. Hope you can hear me okay and we're not having technical issues, no echoes or anything.
Nope, no echoes at all.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. If any of you are out there, I'm really excited to get into the topic for today. Chrissy, you probably already know, I'm going to cover the topic of productivity and getting things done. And I have my share screen here. It is pretty much about getting things done during a time of crisis. And I just wanted to talk about the story of how I was able to get a lot done during the last several months. And I thought maybe this could help folks out there that might be struggling with this. So, whenever you have a question, of course, I welcome it, and we'll see what I can cover in the end or throughout. So just for those who obviously want to know what's going to get covered, I know there's the people who wants to know the main points. So I present that in the beginning, and then we'll obviously go through the story and the details of all of the things. So we'll cover the story of why I got into this and why I wanted to do this, what I was able to accomplish since the shutdown, how we're going to talk about the tech that I used. And then, of course, I'd love to share a template that I used as part of one way to implement the different methodologies that I was aware of and I knew about. So we'll talk about that too. So why? I was really curious. I started Googling, productivity tips. I started Googling, actually over the course of several years, but especially now, I wanted to find out the studies of like how much a person can get done in one day, and can you do it, with healthy habits. And I looked at successful people. You hear about all these successful people that can do so much, and how are people coping with this during this time of crisis. And so I wanted to study about it, but I couldn't find anything helpful on just parenting tips and how you can balance it all. So I decided, even just for me, just like how I definitely want to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because that's a very healthy practice. You want to have time for family, you want to have time for work, and you want to have time for taking care of things in the house. And you also, as far as like keep staying healthy too, like exercise, those types of things. So listing out those types of goals are important, but how do you know, or what can we do to actually get those things done, and not procrastinate and put it aside, or let things come our way and take over our priorities.
And I will say, if I don't get I've noticed a big difference from what days that I don't exercise versus days that I do exercise. I make it a point to exercise in the morning at least twice a week. That way I've got energy and stored energy throughout the week. Like today I missed my exercise routine and I'm just like all foggy today.
No, right. It's the same thing. Like, I feel like also the key points or key tips really is be realistic with your goals. Start small first, and then you can build on top of that. Absolutely. Like, even with those, just exercise alone, when I don't get to do it at least once or twice a week, especially with our current lifestyle too, as busy professional women, then it's just a hard time to face the day, face the week, energy-wise too. So let's talk about what happened to me before. So when my husband and I got married, we really planned on waiting about a year, a year or so to start having children. But, blessings are in disguise. We actually got pregnant about 6 months into marriage. And my life just kind of took off from there. And we had moved between pregnancies. I went through, I think, a lot of depression and postpartum depression, and I didn't realize it. I was overwhelmed by adjusting to motherhood and adjusting to this new stage in life with the kids being so young and so many all at one time. So I had my daughter and then my son, my second 2 years after that, but I was pregnant, obviously, a year after I had my daughter. So, and we moved like several times. And so it took a toll on me. And I was just constantly like thinking, I'm never going to get anything done. Keep in mind, I didn't have a big house. I didn't have a ton of work at the time, all kinds of things. I was still just overwhelmed with life. And so I just really empathize with moms right now who have little kids and are dealing with all of these things, like adjusting to having to work and juggle, everything with personal life and kids at home. So I really sympathize, and I don't want to give the impression that I'm this superwoman that can get so much done. It took me a long time to get to the point where I am now, mentally, and just being content with my current situation. So I was at this point where I didn't even want to get up in the mornings. But now I do. I want to get up in the mornings. My morning routine is a big factor in getting things done. And even I got a chance to, thanks to Alex Workman, the Workmans, and Chelsea, they took our photo. We got a chance to have some fun here. Obviously, this is like my life in a nutshell in the last several months. But we had a little bit of fun. And just like I'm listing out here in my slide here is that like making the bed every single morning it's almost like a big mental block. Like when you get that done, you know you're going to conquer the day. And I took that tip from this Navy SEAL who gave a speech to, I believe, a UT Austin grads. And I was really inspired by just that speech alone. It's like, get up, make your bed. And when you can accomplish that, then you'll be able to accomplish a lot in your day. So there's a lot of other habits that I'll try to cover in the next several slides. So what was I able to accomplish? I tried my best to make sure that I was able to get a lot done with every category. Family and personal life. My husband and I are pretty involved with our faith community. So we're pretty busy even in our personal life, but even with work, I was able to get a lot done throughout this time. Thankfully, my kids are older. I can't imagine now, with my fourth being 4 years old, I understand like if you have several little kids that young, it's going to be super overwhelming. So just make sure you are mindful of that and we don't compare ourselves to one another. So I'm kind of like at the other side telling you there is a light at the end of the tunnel. and the kids being under the age of 13, so 13, 10, or 11 and almost 10, they're a little bit more responsible, they're able to do more. So with the house, we had them delegate, and I delegated to them chores. So those are several things that it kind of includes, like why I was able to get so much done. So what does that mean? 64 items a day. It was a little bit of an experiment. So if you take the time of sleep, maybe 8 hours of sleep, and you deduct the rest, you have 16 hours. So I told myself, okay, if I tried to apply some of the time management principles that I've read about, what if I were to just break it down in 15 minutes? So what does that mean? That's a total of about 64 increments of 15-minute time. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to force myself to list out 64 things to get done, because that's just ridiculous. That's just like you're shooting yourself in the foot there. You're going to get discouraged. Instead, I did like a reverse model of time management, and it was just micro journaling throughout the day. So as I did things throughout the day, as different needs came up, I kept track of those items. And then when I looked back from the day of what I was able to get done, I was like, wow, I'm actually able to get at least on average between 68.9 items a day for about 2 months. That's what I measured, and that's what I noticed about like my daily habits, I guess. So I really believe that, especially with women, we're great multitaskers. We're able to do a lot more in just a short amount of time. I really believe that if we really stay focused and just think of things in smaller increments, you can get so much done in one day. So, like I said, with my daily habits, I woke up early, morning meditation or some spiritual nourishment. Sometimes, especially for me, the days that I do have quiet time and I do breathing exercises or a combination of reading the word and praying, that's what like really helped me. I noticed a big difference when I didn't have those times. I did not, like, my days were like low energy. I didn't do well or whatnot, just mentally it wasn't all there. But I noticed that experts recommend 3, like that's why I put down magic number is 3. 3 for some reason is a big number for your annual goals, your monthly goals, and breaking it down within those 3 monthly goals, you can also do 3 weekly goals. So what I did was I categorized things based on like, okay, what do I do for my family and my personal life? What do I do for work? And what are those goals that I want to accomplish? And then also I included like, what do I need to do for the house? So that like really just honestly freed me from the emotional stress of like, I'm not getting anything done. So my big no-nos, I don't try to do everything perfect. Hi, Chrissy, and hi, Alex. Thank you so much for joining me. And I don't engage with online debates. Those are honestly a waste of time. I try to do limited, I limit my time on social media. If I have designated time for my clients or for myself, I just try to limit that time because I know I can just go off on the deep end and just like start wandering and browsing, and it just kind of is very mentally draining. So I highly recommend that. To maybe put a timer on too. I don't get involved with any kind of extra drama that I don't need. I also try not to do one thing at a time. Of course, you know, everyone works differently, but for me, I notice like, especially if I'm washing dishes or doing the laundry, I try to do something else. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm sure that I'm doing something else in addition to like house tasks. So then I feel like, okay, I'm not wasting my time just doing menial tasks. And also reactive versus proactive. Not putting out fires constantly, but I'll really let it sit. Like I'll write it down on my list. Something came up in my, you know, any of my apps that I'm using or email, and I don't address it right away. That's something as a principle, like unless it's absolutely necessary that I need to get to within the next few hours, that I won't get it done. I'll give myself like 24 hours to get that item done. So do you have any questions, Chrissy? You look like you're, yeah.
Okay, so I need you to kind of just say that again. Because okay, so when you get an email, you say you don't take care of it right away. What do you do next? You jot it down where, and then make sure you get it done within 24 hours. Because this is something I need to start doing.
So I will quickly skim it. I'll look at the subject line, and I will see if this is important. Like if it's a client, obviously I look at it. But I also look to see, is this something I need to address immediately, or is this something that I know that I have time for? So one of my favorite tools, which is obviously, you know, something I'll list out later, but Gmail has this awesome function where you can convert that email into a task. So there's a little icon that lets you just, you know, you just click on it, it becomes a task. But the other thing you can do if you don't have Gmail is you write it down and kind of like a list for follow-up or follow-up to-dos. I have different lists that are categorized, so it just helps me. And one of the things I've designed also for myself is a notepad that has categorized checklists, so that it doesn't get lost in the fold, you know?
Okay. I'm going to try that one for sure. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, and then also just realizing like, okay, if you take a step back and realize like, I can't solve this within 2 to 5 minutes, or I honestly do respond to certain emails just to let people know as a courtesy that I received it, because I feel like it's great for them to realize like I did get it. And sometimes a text message also is very quick. So if it's something that you obviously can get done within 2 minutes, then definitely get it done. And yeah, so one of the things too that I did read several years ago about was getting things done. There's a getting things done method. And then Zen to done is somebody's approach to getting things done. And they believe that it was a great complement to getting things done. So it's getting things done is about focusing on an entire system. It's almost like completely changing all your habits, but it's unrealistic, according to the person who founded Zen to Done. I don't recall his name. I apologize about that, but I liked his method, and I feel like I pretty much naturally do this already. I collect all the items, I process it, and then I prioritize, and it's based on 10 different types of habits. And there is an article on that, and I could share it in the comments later, but it is pretty much like how I feel like is one of the most productive ways of getting things done. And there's also the Pomodoro Method. I really love this. So the premise is you time yourself for about 25 minutes, and then you take a break. So when you are doing whatever it is that you want to get accomplished, you focus 100% on 25 minutes. And then you take like a 5-minute break and then get back to whatever it is that you want to get done as well. So there's a few apps in Apple, I believe, and I noticed that there is a productivity app that lets you time yourself for 15, 25, and 45-minute increments. And if you need a longer chunk of time to get something done, then obviously 45 minutes is a great amount of time, and then taking a break for 15 minutes and then doing another set of milestone goals that you have. But for me, I found that focusing for 15 minutes is great because you still get a whole lot done within 15 minutes. And so that's what I forced myself to do while trying to implement, this little study of mine out of curiosity. Also, I recently got into these books called Take the Stairs and Procrastinate on Purpose by Rory Vaden. Very, very inspirational, very smart thinking, and just he's really a great person to listen to, because I got through these books. I think I got through more books this year than any other year because I listened to them instead of reading. And for the longest time, I couldn't read, obviously, and do other things. So I did Audible books. So I highly recommend Audible. And he's just well versed and very inspirational, and he has so much energy. So I highly recommend those books. Some of my favorite quotes include this: running a household is running a business. Absolutely true. It takes up so much time. So, all you ladies out there, and even men, take that. And then also this, he said, if you're a stay-at-home mom or a dad, you are running a business. Absolutely true. So you can consider that your first business. If you have never run a business, this is pretty much true. And then I love this: give yourself and your team the permission of imperfect. This, I was so excited when he said this, because I just pretty much gave up on the idea of anything being perfect in my life. And after I accepted that, I was so much happier. Just realizing like, okay, the house isn't going to be immaculate all the time. I'm not going to make these, glamorous meals for the family all the time, or I'm not going to be able to accomplish a whole lot career-wise in a short amount of time. those kinds of things, just accepting that not everything will be perfect. And even when the kids, they're part of my personal team, even if they don't do a chore perfectly, at least they're learning along the way. And I have them do their laundry. They are old enough to do their laundry. They're old enough to do basic chores like sweeping, wiping the counters, and even putting a dish away. Those, basic things go a long way. And it has helped me tremendously throughout this year. Okay, so just a little screenshot, and I can share it too, like what this looks like in person or over virtually here. This is a screenshot of my spreadsheet of what I've been using. Obviously, I couldn't find an app that I could do this with, so that's why I put a spreadsheet together. It's not super pretty, but yeah, like a lot of these categories like family, church, work, learn, home, health, like these are the things I wanted to make sure that was getting done. And so I would multitask. Like in the mornings, I would listen to something while it was nice and quiet. I kept track of things that, like, for example, eating breakfast. Like you'd think, why is that important? It is absolutely important. I would skip meals sometimes, or I wouldn't take care of like my personal health because I was overwhelmed with the fact that I wanted to get work done or take care of something in the house, those kinds of things. So those are very, very important. I did not even record everything related to work. So, listening to audiobooks and podcasts was a big thing for me to also add to this nice list. And I was forced to focus within the 15 minutes that I timed myself. And apparently there's a study that when you keep track and you check things off, oxytocin or some type of hormonal thing is released. Happy hormones, let's just call it that. And also it takes about 15 minutes to really wind down and go to sleep. From what I've listened to, I believe Jim Quick said this, and some other brain gurus say that it's and I remember reading or hearing a neurologist say, it's very good to consistently go to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time. I'm still working on that, but in general, I'm trying to stick to the same type of routine in the evenings and in the mornings, and it's done wonders for me in my mental space. And of course, I can't ignore the fact that, my family, my husband, my faith community, and my team has helped me get so much more done than I could ever have imagined. There's no way I would have gotten all these different things done. I didn't really record what others did for me, but even delegating is a big item that really helps. And Rory Vaden, in reference to his book on procrastinating on purpose, multipliers, people who can accomplish so much, very successful people. I'm talking about CEOs, I'm talking about like multimillionaires, those kinds of things. They have mastered the art of delegation. So this year has been pivotal for me before the shutdown because I added team members, and that was a huge thing. And sometimes we did delegate housework before all of this, and that was a huge thing for me too. But this year, obviously, we couldn't hire out and do some housework for us, but it's okay. I mean, the kids really stepped up and they really helped us. And I did not do this. Another clarification is I did not do this every single day throughout the whole entire week. I knew I had my weekends reserved for me to do stuff like in a relaxed mode. Like I did not do this every single day because I think that it can be a little bit intense for some. So, if you want to aim for a goal of 8, 12 things a day, like that's great, but also 3 big items. Like I try to aim for 3 daily goals, and that has helped me tremendously. So if you want me to stop here, if anyone has questions, I can also continue on with some of the apps that I've used. One of the apps that I think is really cool, it's called Any.do, and one of my team members told me about it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. What I love about it is that, there's a few quirks that I didn't like, but what I love about it is that you can specify certain tasks that are repeatable. So you just change the settings and you make sure that it just pops up the next day, you know you're going to have to wash dishes every single day, and you don't have to list that thing out, but obviously it is a factor in your time. So I just do like morning chores, afternoon chores, evening chores, and then checking in on the kids, making sure they take care of their errands and whatnot. And Google Keep Notes, I use that for my groceries because I'm having, there's a routine, or I have my meal plan, it's on there. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel and rewrite every single thing. I have my meal plan for the week there, and then it just I just know that I can just kind of cycle through, and it's very user friendly. I really love those. You can save your to-do lists on there. For my team, Slack, if those who are not familiar with it, it's a platform that really cuts down email. It was designed for pretty much destroying the use of email. So the founder of Slack wanted to revolutionize team communication, and he did so. So it really cuts down all the emails that I get from my team. We just address things through direct messaging, and the channels on Slack really helps organize topics. And then Calendly I use as an online scheduler. That has helped me with, putting together appointments. It's mostly like professional appointments, but for those who want to just have their life in order, it's free up until a certain amount. I believe you have one category of appointments you can have set. And then if you want something more, it's about $10 a month, which to me is worth it because it saves you and your person that you want to meet with time from the back and forth. It's going to cut your email back and forth pretty much to one email, one or two emails. So I don't have to deal with, oh, when can we meet? Let's talk about our best options, those kinds of things. I love Calendly. So, and then I mentioned Gmail earlier with the filtering system, and I love search because their search function, obviously they're the #1 search engine. So they have an awesome search function even within their email service. So I can find whatever I need within Gmail. And Shipt, I will sometimes, not all the time, will do that, and it's been great. Like it's saved me, like even though there might be like a minimum fee or a tip, to me that's worth it. Like if you calculate your salary and divide it by per hour and you figured out your hourly rate, just 1 hour to the grocery store and the gas money, then you realize like the value on that is crucial. So Rory Vaden says, what is it? The return on investment. And he said it's not just an ROI, but return on invested time or something like that. I have to look back in my notes, but I loved how he coined the term that has to do with time investment. So maybe it is ROTI. So anyways, I just am pretty much concluding here. If there aren't any questions, I encourage you all to join my lives. The topics cover a wide array of tips and tricks, and I have guests lined up for the rest of the year. It's really just to help motivate people out there to save time and money and get creative as entrepreneurs and provide whatever useful resources that, whether it's my guest or I can provide, I'd love to help people. So I have an upcoming workshop. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to add, because time is money. So like today I'm like thinking, oh, I need to redo because I wrote these down in my notebook about, okay, these are things I need to do that are going to help me with everything else. And it's important that the tips that you gave and the advice that you gave, it's important to do the things as before you do everything else, because if you put these things in place, then everything else will be a lot easier, right? So it's important to take that time up front to put these things in place to make your life a lot easier.
And you've heard me in phone conversations like, you need to do this and this and this and you'll be fine. But yes, I really like when sometimes we need to take a step back to take a step forward, right? I've heard that many times, and And even though it might kind of slow other things down, the invested time on getting systems in place, making your life easier, just getting those automated systems as well in place will just save you a tremendous amount of time. And which makes me really happy. I don't know why I'm passionate about this. I think deep down I know why, but saving time, saving people time is something I get really excited about. So I hope that for those of you who are able to listen or who will listen to this recording later on, I hope you found something valuable. And if you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you about it. Send me comments and feedback. If you have ideas, if you have other topics you'd like to get into, I would love to cover that. The upcoming workshop on October 22nd, it's about CX marketing, which means customer service marketing, or customer experience marketing. So that's something relatively new, but is big right now with larger organizations. And I think that's something that will be super valuable for us as a local community to really get into that topic. So I highly encourage anyone who wants to join that discussion to join me. Thank you so much. I didn't even show the spreadsheet, but I'd love to share that with anybody who'd want to use it and test it out. I have it, I believe, in another window, I think. Yeah, this is my other
You can
window.
bring that if you want.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I found it.
Are you ready?
Yes, thank you.
I just didn't want to share everything that's on your computer to the entire world, so here we go.
Yeah, I was looking through my windows like I should. Yeah, so this is just one example. So what I did was I kept track every day, and then I would just highlight all the different tasks, and then down here at the bottom, it would tell me the total number of what I was able to take care of. I mean, things that matter to me, it could mean anything, even just a small little conversation, or just fixing your hair, combing your hair, taking care of yourself, self-pampering. Like, to me, that's what matters. But of course, like, there's this app called Monday. Like, this is my project management tool, and I did not even count all the things that I got done for just work alone. So for people who want to keep track of work, that's fine, but I wanted to keep track of what can I do personally and professionally, so that I could feel like I'm definitely taking care of myself and the things that actually matter.
Very cool. All right. Do you have any recommendations on books? For one thing that I wrote down is mastering delegation. Do you have any?
Yes.
Mastering the art of delegation, or podcasts? I prefer podcasts.
Yes. So I haven't even started, but I want to get into Rory Vaden's podcast because he focuses on time, productivity, and efficiency. But yeah, those two books, those are the most recent that I got into that's related to productivity. So the Take the Stairs one and Procrastinate on Purpose. Those two books I highly recommend. And I'm also going to get into, and I heard great things about it, it's called The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. He's also really good about time and efficiency, and just like how he just views things differently is kind of neat. He has his own podcast. James Altucher is one of my favorite podcasts, and he covers all kinds of things related to entrepreneurship. He doesn't necessarily focus on time, but he interviews some of the most key experts in the country, if not the world, I believe. And he's a serial entrepreneur. I get so much inspiration from him. For anyone who has recommendations for me, I am looking at different options for even women. So I would love to, for a women podcast. I have been looking at some different coaches on Instagram. Like the lady, I can't recall her name right now, but she runs the Life Coach School, and so she also has her own system of time management. So I'm curious about that. But as far as what I recommend, you heard that part. Do you have any favorites?
I mean, I am a big NPR fan, so I always am listening to NPR, and then How I Built This podcast.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so that's like that's my jam, you know. But I think, you know, for me, I want to kind of continue my podcast listening, but have it be things that I can integrate directly into my life. And so that's why I was like, oh, well, I definitely see an area where I need help with delegation. So that's something I'm like, yeah. But this was very insightful, quite honestly. Like, this
Thank
was
you.
very good. And I think a lot of people watching right now, and who will also be watching this, because it's now going to live as a video, as content on your social media, will be able to rewind this and be like, okay, I need to jot that down. This is what I need to do. This is how I can, you know, relieve this stressor. And so, and just remember that it takes the upfront work of doing it, which really isn't much in the scheme of things, to run your life more efficiently and more productively. So some food for thought here.
That's awesome. Thank you, Chrissy. Yes, I'm so glad you're here to be my listening ear, of course. And yes, I'm really excited about this going out to the world and seeing how people can benefit from it. So
very cool. Well, we appreciate everybody watching today. We had some great listeners, and if you have any comments, feel free to continue the conversation even after this live stream closes. Anything else you want to add, Julia?
No, that's it. Just watch out for the next event post for our live stream in a couple weeks. We don't have anyone scheduled for the next time, but we can always cover a nice fun topic on productivity, or even anything related to being a creative entrepreneur.
And flexibility is also key as well too. So we keep it flexible because we want no stress lives here.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.